Hello, this is Ryan Egan with Metal Grove Radio, and I'm on with Johnny Valles, who is on drums for a few bands, Blackbraid and Blistering Rot. He's currently on tour, sitting behind the kit for Go Ahead and Die with Max Cavalera, and they're in California right now on tour. They're in Fresno tonight, then Bakersfield, then Palmdale, and then back to my home state, Arizona, to Flagstaff on Sunday, where I get to see them. Thanks for being on the show, Johnny. How's the tour going?
Hey man, it's an honor to be on the show. Tour has been great so far. All of the shows have been absolutely packed out. People have been incredibly enthusiastic about the whole tour package. People have been showing up early to catch the local bands every night, and it's just been great, man. The morale has been so high, and everybody's having the time of their lives.
Great to hear. Yeah, I hear it's just high energy. I've seen some of the videos, and yeah, it's gonna be the last show here on the tour. And I heard the last show of the year for you guys. So that is gonna be amazing. Let's see. So how long have you known Max, and how did when did you start playing for Go Ahead and Die?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. I about 7 years ago, I started a band with Igor Amadeus called Healing Magic. Him and Travis Stone, who actually plays in Cavalera Conspiracy now, they were wanting to start something a little more along the lines of like stoner rock or doom metal, and I had a mutual friend with Travis that kind of brought me into the mix of things, and we jammed for a few years, and in that time, Igor had started Go Ahead and Die with his dad, and they had a previous drummer, a gentleman named Zach Coleman, who did a fantastic job. But he owned a brewery and played in a couple of other bands that took up a lot of his time. So when it came time for them to record their second record back in 2022, Igor, reached out to me and asked if that would if playing for Go Ahead and Die was something that I would be interested in. Which, of course, I jumped at the opportunity to because I loved what they were doing.
Yeah.
Knowing Max and Igor both and having a great deal of respect for them as people and as musicians, it was something that I really wanted to do. So being able to, jump in and kind of learn some of the stuff that they were working on at the time and be able to jump into the studio with them and do that record, it was a lot of fun, and that album means a whole lot to me.
Yeah, it's such a cool sound. It's just different, than a lot of bands.
It
Um,
really is. Igor really likes to kind of push the boundaries sonically, whether it be, with really, really fast, aggressive stuff. He's doing a lot of really interesting things on his guitar, and Max is doing a lot of really interesting things that, it just creates an atmosphere and adds a lot of texture to what we're doing. And yeah, man, it's been really cool to see this stuff kind of come to life in a live setting on a stage, and people have been very receptive to it so far, which has been awesome.
yeah, definitely. One description I saw, I think it was like on Apple Music, it says it's a punk fueled death metal family project.
I think that's a fair description, most definitely.
Yeah, I felt like that seems pretty on target. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we all obviously have, a bit of a punk background, and we love all the early 80s stuff, like, all the UK stuff, like, Discharge and Doom and Napalm Death and Deviated Instinct and stuff like that. So, being able to kind of pay homage to, those earlier punk bands that we're influenced by and kind of bring our own flair to it, with the death metal and the thrash stuff, like it's really cool to just kind of throw all that stuff in a blender and see what we come up with.
Yeah, definitely. And it's you've come up with something good. Well, let's see here. I do ask a little bit off-topic questions.
Yeah.
Like what do you like to do besides music? You have any hobbies, any sports or
I am a huge sports fan. I'm a huge San Francisco 49ers fan, so I watch football pretty religiously. But beyond that, man, I love spending time with my girlfriend, and I have an awesome basset hound that I love to hang out with and take on long walks and stuff. But honestly, man, to be honest with you, music takes up 75% of my life. That's mostly all I do is play
Yeah, yeah,
music. I mean, outside of playing, my job back at home is I'm a backline technician, so I'm always going to events and concerts, and my whole life is music. Even when I'm not here on the road playing, I'm working for other musicians that are on the road playing. So
yeah,
it's pretty much my whole life. But honestly, man, I really wouldn't have it any other way. Music has kind of been the most important thing to me since a really really young age, and to be able to have my life be so centered on music at this point in my life, it's a good feeling. I like it a lot.
yeah, definitely. I just made it, the center of my life in the last few years, and I'm so much happier now.
No, it really, really is something that I think it gives me a sense of purpose, and it gives me a sense of, just since I was a young kid, music has always been it's been a comfort thing, and it's something that, if you're having a good day, there's happy music to listen to. If you're having a bad day, there's sad music to listen to. There's always something to match any mood, and
Yeah,
it's just kind of carried me through my life. So yeah, to be able to just be so surrounded by music all the time, I find myself being a lot happier than, in the past I had worked kitchen jobs and warehouse jobs and security jobs and you name it, I've gone through them all. But, being able to just do something that is completely focused on music has been it's been really fulfilling, and it's done wonders for my quality of life.
yeah, definitely. Well, one thing that is interesting that you mentioned was you're a 49ers fan. S-
Yes.
So, I live in Gilbert, so I was a teacher, and
Uh-huh.
when I taught fourth grade, I met all of the Purdys. His
Whoa.
his sister was in my class, and Brock was in my friend's. He was a teacher. He was in his class. So yeah, I met.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
That's got to be kind of crazy to see where he's at now.
yeah, it is. I didn't even know he was going that far, and all of a sudden I see him on TV, like starting for the Niners. What was it, a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
years?
He played the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, yeah. So. But another connection, you grew up with basset hounds, you said. Or
I have a Basset Hound now.
you have one
That
now.
he Yeah, I have.
I grew up with basset hounds as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they're the greatest dogs, man.
Yeah.
We got the one because I grew up with a black lab, and when he died, I kind of swore that I was never going to get another dog.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was like, "Oh, I really want to get a dog. I wanted something small. She wanted something big. So we met in the middle and went with a Basset Hound. And he was an absolute handful as a puppy. But he's about 3 now. He just turned 3 in July, and
Uh,
him and I are inseparable, man. That is my buddy. I love that dog so much. I would do anything for him. He's the greatest. And now we want another one. Like, we just want to get him a buddy, and we just love just how goofy he is, and just so loving. He's just the most loving dog that I've ever encountered in my life.
yes, they are. Oh man. Yeah, I miss having those. Um, let's see. Have you read any good books lately?
Um, no, I'm honestly not much of a reader, unfortunately.
That's okay. Nope. I get that sometimes people are like, no, I have not read, but sometimes.
Yeah, I haven't read, and it's been a few years. It's been a few years for sure.
Yeah, well, you're busy with all the music things. What are your future plans? What are you going to be doing in 2026?
I mean, so in 2026, I play in a bunch of other bands, predominantly a lot of like black metal stuff. So next year, I've got a couple of tours lined up with the band Blackbraid that I play with.
Okay.
I'll be doing some fill-in work for a couple of bands, a couple of European bands actually. I'll be going out there to do a couple festival runs and a couple of tours with them. And then yeah, back at home, I think we're gonna work on a full record with my band Blistering Rot, the death metal band that I do back in LA.
Okay.
And then hopefully doing some more go ahead and die stuff. I'm not really sure what the future holds. You know, Igor and Max are incredibly busy doing Cavalera Conspiracy.
Yeah.
So, you know, whenever they do find the downtime, you know, we try to work in as much go ahead and die stuff as we can. But everybody's got a lot of stuff going on, you know, especially with Max between Soulfly, Nail Bomb, and Cavalera. There's just a lot. So I'm hoping maybe, you know, next year we'll get together and maybe get to work on some tunes. But I guess that kind of remains to be seen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I asked him about that, like how he's so busy, and he's just like, you just go from one thing to the next, just keep going. I was like,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I think for most of us, they finished the Cavalera tour basically right at the end of October. They were home for about a week, and then we left for this tour.
yeah.
And same thing with me. I finished like a month-long Blackbraid tour, was home for about 2 weeks, and then left for this one. So
Yeah.
we've all been on the road for a little while. We're all definitely, you know, a little sleepy and definitely ready to get back to our families and our own beds. But
Yeah.
you know, we're all having a blast. You know, this is you know, seeing the big crowds every night and everybody so excited to, you know, kind of let loose and see some music every night. That's kind of our reminder of why we do this. And, you know, the exhaustion kind of wears off once you see all that, you know, and,
Yeah.
yeah, man, only 4 shows left to go counting tonight. So we're definitely, you know, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here. And we're, you know, we're excited to get through these next few shows because they're definitely going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Flagstaff's the last one of the
Really looking
last.
forward to that one.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, I'll see you there. I
Yeah,
have
man.
not seen Go Ahead and Die yet, so I cannot
Oh,
wait.
cool.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks so much for talking to me, and we'll
Yeah,
see.
man. Absolutely.
All right, take care.
All right. You too, buddy. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.